Good afternoon. Keith Rootsaert, the founder of the Giant Kelp Restoration Project in Monterey. 30 by 30 is supposed to be 30% of the land and 30% of the ocean conserved. And these picturesque brochures and plans are what happens when the public can't see below the waves and the invisible need for ocean conservation. And the state can't afford to take action. National marine sanctuaries only conserve marine mammals, water quality, and submerged lands. And by IUCN Criterion 6, would likely not qualify as protected. Protection is not really protection. There are various degrees of conservation. A state marine reserve is protected, but why is a state marine conservation area where overfishing is allowed considered protected? How are urchin barrens in our best places benefiting biodiversity? If this auditorium were infested with termites, we wouldn't be giving them all first names. What are we protecting? How do we go from 9% to 30% ocean protection without spending 0.1% of our 30/30 funding that we spend on land? Rebrand. Ashes for trees. Hot air for a cool breeze. Pink Floyd said that. For most of the California coast, kelp forests are past the tipping point. Acting 7 years ago would have been better, but now we'll have to do. Restoration movement is a paradigm shift, a regenerative fishery. People reimagining their role in conservation, making the ocean better than we found it. Let's really begin. Thank you. Still afternoon. Keith Rootsaert, founder of the Giant Kelp Restoration Project in Monterey. OPC and Fish and Wildlife Kelp Restoration Management Plan Working Group, they first convened in 2022 and may deliver a permitting framework in 2026. At Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary Advisory Council, I was the chair of 3 iconic kelp working groups of education, conservation and policy, and research. We all met in April, and we provided recommendations to Superintendent Lisa Wunink May 17th. The recommendations from the constituents are in your meeting materials and include the need for clarity about calling urchins in marine protected areas. The recommendations affirmed by OPC and CDFW representatives is to pursue moving forward beyond the pilot phase. We have been doing pilot projects in Monterey for the last 6 years. Our proposed efforts to restore giant kelp forests will use the best available science and informed research. But science cannot lead our endeavor, or we will repeat what happened at Tankers Reef, where government authorities, for the sake of science, deliberately killed a thriving kelp forest that the volunteers made, with sea otters living on it in an El Nino year, in an election year. Urchins eat kelp, believe me. What could heal our pain would be your support for our FGC petition 2023-23 MPA to allow kelp restoration in our best places, the MPAs, by volunteer divers to provide ecosystem services to keep kelp and hope alive. Thank you.